Hey, good morning, good afternoon, sports fans. Louis Diamond coming at you live from our Las Vegas handicapping studios, filling in for Brad Stein today. We got plenty of action for you. We got NFL, NBA, college football, baseball, ton of action. I am joined here with four fantastic, three. What do we got? I'm four. Maybe I am fantastic. I don't know. But let's call ourselves the Forcemen of Handicapping. And joining me today, Tony Gullidge, Ross Benjamin, and the infamous Chipper Chirimbus. Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Morning.
Good morning, Lou.
All right. Listen, last night, doing well. Thank you for joining me here today. Let's get right down to it, and let's get these guys I guess we'll do a little recap of last night. We were just buzzing in our ears. Ross, you were telling us why you played Miami last night, and Chip got excited. Why don't you relive that moment for us here?
Chip excited. That's not a hard thing. Anyway, yeah, we all had Miami, by the way, me, Chipper, and Tony. So just hang our hats on that. Proud of you guys. Anyway, I'm looking at Miami off a loss, Lou, because they've been playing real well. When I was handicapping the game yesterday, and I stumbled upon the fact that I said, they shot less than 40% in game three, in that game three loss. And I'm going up the logs in game by game, and I'm seeing they very rarely shoot under 40%. So I do a search on my database that I use for the NBA, and I ask it, how does Miami do after a game that they shoot less than 40%? And it came up 7-0 straight up in ATS this year. So, wow, okay, well, let me try. Let's keep moving it up the ladder. I got up to 40.5%, and it went to 8-0, and then the losses started to occur going higher than that. So having said that, them shooting 38% the game before, and the perfect 8-0 straight up in ATS against the spread when shooting 40%, 40.5% or less in their previous game and winning by double-digit margins by average, I decided to go with Miami. And they've been, to me, undervalued the whole postseason. They were 3.5-point underdog again yesterday, and they, lo and behold, they won straight up and they won against the spread. The only thing that didn't coincide with that angle is they didn't win by double digits. But hey, you know what? A straight up underdog winner, a winner is a winner is a winner.
Absolutely.
Chicken dinner. Yes, nice analogy. You did give it to us yesterday. Just kind of wanted to recap that a little bit when you and Chip were talking about that pre-show. So thank you for the insights. And let's get to the insight for tonight. Speaking of Miami, the Dolphins of Miami are playing at the Jaguars tonight. It is the matchup of the Beard versus the Stash. And when you have a matchup above Beard versus a Stash, who is your handicapping go-to guy? Chipper.
Well, I'm a Miami guy all the way. And I think you're the one supporting a Beard. But
that's right.
Let me say this, that I don't believe in this Jacksonville team because they don't have Matt Rule coaching them. And that really upsets me. But I think Jacksonville, we had talked about how they were a team everyone was looking to fade at the beginning of the season. 7.5-point underdog to Indianapolis opening the year at home. No one gave them a chance. They win the game outright. Minshew has a fantastic game. I believe it was 19 of 20 or somewhere close to that anyway. And then the next game they come out and they play tough again. And I think the momentum as far as the public and everyone's attitude and the way they view this team is totally different than it was 4 weeks ago. Maybe if we had had a preseason, it would have been different. But I don't think they're as good as people think they are now. Miami's struggling. They've covered twice. And I don't know. I think Fitzpatrick has a little bit more experience in Minshew. I like Miami's position here. It's a rivalry game within the state. And I just like the idea of Miami's getting points. I think that Jacksonville, I'm not sure, is 1-6. The last 7 times have been favored. Maybe one of you guys can correct me on that if I'm off, but it's something along those lines. I got Miami tonight, and I don't care. I posted it, and it's out there, and I think they're a winner.
All right. Chipper on the homer. Well, so if it's not the stash versus the beard, then it's the old man versus the new kid.
Yeah.
And, so the question is, how's that going to play tonight, Tony Gullidge?
Wow, this was a tough game for me to handicap. I went back and forth. I think everybody's brought up a lot of good points. Miami, as a road dog, traditionally, I just know they're not that good. They did cover last week. I had them against Buffalo. They snuck in, got the cover. They led, played tough. Jacksonville, man, like I think Chip just mentioned this. You don't trust them. I mean, I don't trust them. I really don't. I'm not sold on them. But I'm going to go against Chipper here, against my better judgment. I'm going to take Jacksonville tonight. There's just so many things that play out even. The numbers right. I just think this is a situation where Jacksonville can continue the progress they're making. Somebody's got to win the game. And for my money, I'm going to back Jacksonville tonight.
All right, Tony. Ross, looks like it's a rubber match, and you get to be the decider here. What are you thinking on tonight's Dolphins and Jaguars matchup, the showdown in Florida? I was thinking about it yesterday. Forgot what it was. But go ahead, Ross.
You're putting too much pressure on me, Lou, first of all. Anyway.
I put it on myself.
Having said that, I agree with there's good points made by both gentlemen before me. I agree with Tony. This is a tough call. Probably if this game was on a Sunday on a card with 14 or 15 other games, I would probably pass on it. But since I've been able to hone in on this one game, Chipper makes a good point. Look, perception versus reality, guys. Jacksonville was an underdog the first 2 weeks. They knock off Indianapolis, which I had that game as a most interesting game of the day here on this show. And then last week it was a surprise to me because I thought they would get blown out against Tennessee at home. And they held – I mean, look, it was 33-30, and quarterback Minshew throws an interception in Tennessee territory late in the game. They were in a position to possibly tie. So they've definitely played over expectations, right? And I thought they were an absolute lock to go under 5.5 regular season wins. That was my play. I'm going to stick with that play. And I think that, again, Chipper makes a good point. You know, Ryan Fitzpatrick, he played pretty well against a pretty good Buffalo defense last week, albeit they were missing their 2 starting linebackers. And if you look at Jacksonville, guys, the first 2 games, yeah, they've gone 1-1. Yeah, they covered both games, but they're giving up a lot of yards on the defensive side of the ball. And I think Ryan Fitzpatrick, the veteran that he is, against a young defense, will be able to move the ball on Jacksonville. I'm going to take the points here as a small lean, Louis, to break the tie.
All right, break the tie.
If I can add,
go ahead. Go ahead.
I want to add 2 more things. Is that Jacksonville is 2-6 as favorites in the last 8, and Miami is 2-6 as favorites in the last 8, and Miami is 10-2 after straight up losses against the points. And those are 2 key factors that sort of align themselves together, and why I'm going to stay with Miami. And I respect Tony's opinion because he's done great. But this makes horse racing. You got one guy on one side, another guy on another.
Bookie's dream is what I call it. The bookies love us to disagree.
Absolutely. No doubt about that. No doubt about that. That's what keeps them in business. So the Dolphins are 10-4 as an underdog. So we'll give you that. But they are 7-15 on the road. So you have to take that with it too. But I guess I'll give you a little bit of an outlook, something you need to look at for this game. And before you bet this game, next loss is probably Ryan Fitzpatrick's last game. And the way I kind of see it. And if there's anything or anybody backed up against the wall, it's this veteran. And I know he knows this. So I think you're going to get the best play you can possibly get out of him. So it makes me very nervous to back the favorite. And I just got to believe that there's some value in Miami, but it's that gut instinct. It's tough. What we've seen Jacksonville do, will they continue that? I don't know. That's tough. But
he's on a shorter leash. He's on a short leash, Lou. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ryan Fitzpatrick probably a shorter leash than Chip was on with his last girlfriend. So, yeah, I agree.
Hey, I am
agree.
beginning to like girls
I
again.
think they're just going to be looking for, especially if they lose, they're 0-3. What if they look like they're going to be out of playoff contention soon, you drafted that kid number 1 for a reason. Use him.
Yeah. Oh, I agree with that 100%. How do you draft this kid number 1? You know he's your future. You should have started him and get him right in there. Oh. What are you trying to preserve here with Fitzpatrick? Great guy, great contract, all that stuff. What are you preserving here? He's not leading you to the promised land. That's pretty obvious. So, rebuild with the young star that you believe you have is my opinion. So, but good for Ryan Fitzpatrick. He has an opportunity to play the swan song. So hopefully he rides it off into the sunset as best as he can. So with that, let's move over into the NBA here tonight. And we got the Lakers and the Nuggets. And current number right now is probably still the same number that it's been. Haven't seen all that much movement. 6.5 down to 6. 215.5 down to 214.5. Tony Gullidge, where's the value tonight?
Well, guys, if you grew up in colonial America, you may have been a Quaker. If you're from India and a Hindu, you were perhaps called a faker. But if you want to win tonight, I think you should back the Lakers. That's me. I just think the Lakers. I think the Lakers do well coming off.
Yeah,
I saw that coming.
I don't know where that came from. I just kind of ripped it off. I just think the Lakers coming off a loss, I think they're going to be determined. They had that 18-2 run to start the fourth to make the big run to come back. But you saw with about 3 minutes left, they were tanked. Anthony Davis couldn't barely make it up the court walking. So I think the Lakers realized last night, at the last game, I think the Lakers realized they're in a series and they're going to have to – they can't just play 10 minutes at a time. They're going to have to put in a full effort to get rid of this team. And I think tonight you'll see that. That's my gut instinct is the Lakers are going to come out fired up. They're going to be aggressive all over the court and expect to see something different than you saw the last game. And that's going to be the Lakers. They're going to be the ones that control down the stretch, and the Lakers will get the win and cover tonight.
Whew, Tony coming at us strong with the little Lakers tonight. So some fighting words, or are you agreeing with this one, Ross?
I don't know. One thing I do know is Tony's a poet, and none of us knew it. So anyway, in any event, yeah, I agree with Tony. Actually, I do. I think that you look at the Lakers in their previous 2 playoff losses. They won both their prior series 4-1. And they followed up those losses in the first 2 series with dominant performances. And I think it was a wake-up call, Game 3. I was on the Lakers. I was wrong. I'm going to ride them one more time here, guys. I think the Lakers here bounce back in a big way tonight. And I think you're going to see a concerted effort on the defensive end because they weren't very good defensively in Game 3. And they're a much better defensive team they've shown all year long than they showed there. So I'm going to have a small lean here on the Lakers laying the points, Chipper.
Got a couple Lakers, Chipper. What do you got?
Well, I believe this is I'm going to call this my Ray Charles game of the year because I just can't see it. I don't understand how anybody can bet the Lakers after what I just saw last time out. So therefore, I've got the Lakers as well, and I'm going to lay it, and I expect them to really win this game handily.
Now we got a blind musician and a poet. Holy cow! You guys are overwhelming.
Well, this this virus out here has really hurt the prostitutes out here because, no, I'm serious. This poor blind woman on the corner, you really have to hand it to her. I mean, that's a worker.
Leave it to Chip to keep us up to date with the Las Vegas prostitute.
They're not taking this laying down. I'm telling you that right now.
I'm sure
it's a
business has.
It's a mouthful you just said, Chipper.
All right.
Anyway, back to you, my man.
All right. Well, why? Thank you. All right. So I got to say that they're all on the Lakers. So fuck that. I'm on the Nuggets. No, I don't know. I don't. I just do or die time. I'm not in it. So nothing for me to add there. So let's just get over to college football tonight. UAB, South Alabama Jaguars. All right, this game opens up with UAB. Let me get to my handy-dandy notebook. UAB opens up a 6-point favorite. They have been bet up to 7. And we gave you a little information yesterday. A couple of us are on this dog. South Alabama, nice home dog. Total has been bet down to 46.5, so they're expecting a low-scoring game. And what do you got for this one here? I'll go right back to you, Chipper. What do you got?
Interesting game because South Alabama's been terrible for so long, and they've come up with 2 big games, and it's all through their passing attack. UAB is 0-2 against the number, and they got off to a rough start, I guess. Again, was it Miami the first game they played, and they got beaten and handled? I think UAB, from what I've looked at all their numbers and records, and they've come a long way considering they were out of football a couple of years ago. I think this is a strong number for this game, and I think there's a little bit too much attention being paid to the Jaguars. They've come back and played 2 really good games. I think for the tide to turn here for a team that hasn't won a game to be favored by a touchdown on the road, it looks to me it looks a little easy to take South Alabama. So if I was to play this, and I'm not, and I haven't posted this, I would lay the points with the Blazers.
Of course. Charles could see that one coming. All right, Tony, you have anything that you can add here to give us something to lean on?
I think Chip just mentioned the passing attack of South Alabama. I think that's going to be what gets them the win. If they win tonight, it will be the passing attack. Just Chip mentioned UAB. They did beat Central Arkansas, but did not cover the first game. Then went to Miami and lost, but did not cover that spread. So they're 0-2 against the number. I think I actually went and watched a little bit of the South Alabama. I just wanted to see, I actually picked them to beat Southern Miss, won that, but didn't watch one play of the game. So I had to go back and just to see. And I tell you, for a small, shitty school in South Alabama, the passing game looked legit. I was kind of like, damn, this isn't that bad, So when I see UAB coming in, I just, like I say, that spread, you almost want to take the team given the points in that situation because it just looks so ridiculous, right? It's perception reality. UAB minus, why in the hell are they laying a touchdown here? But I'm not. I'm just not going to do. I'm going to go with what everything I'm doing tells me to take South Alabama. I'm not ready to slit my throat and take the other team. There's times in my life where I do all this work and I'm just picking shitty teams, losing bets left and right. And I'll start slicing my own throat at some point. Take the other, whatever I decide to bet, just take the other team. I'm not at that point yet. I'm just going to ride with what's getting me to where I am. So South Alabama for me tonight.
All right, more South Alabama action there. And, you hear us say a lot, don't ask a bad team to do something good. But at the same time, you need to bet them dogs if you want to beat the system. It's really as simple as that.
Whenever you, I have a take on the game if you'd like.
Yeah, we'll get to yeah. All right.
Oh, I'm sorry. What, Russ? I thought you were going on to the next game. My bad.
No, what do you think I'm, Brad? Come on.
Ross is invisible sometimes. We can skip over Ross.
Yeah, well, no kidding.
Right now, if you look right now. Bring the other screen up, Eugene. If you look right now, we're going to get the best information from Chip ever. Oh, he got back in his
What's
seat.
that?
Never mind.
I was losing my power cord. It had nothing to do with the pens.
All right. Listen. All right, Ross, give us your take on that South Alabama game. I know you got something juicy for us.
Yeah.
Chipper, take your pen and pad out, okay? Because you said the UAB has turned around their program after being out of college football for a year or two.
Well,
UAB
didn't have a great season last year. Didn't
9-5,
last year?
Right? 9-5, and they're 1-1 this year. That's 10-6, right? Tony mentioned they beat Central Arkansas. Their only win this year. Okay, that's a FCS team. They won. Right. One of their 9 wins was against an FCS team last year. Okay, so now 10 minus 2 is 8. That means they beat
Very
8
good.
FBS teams, okay? 7 of those 8 wins against FBS teams came against opponents that went a combined 17 and 67 last year. Okay,
Is that it?
so they beat nobody. In South Alabama right now, covered both games as a dog. Look, they had Tulane on the ropes, who's a pretty good team out of the American, and that's a pretty good conference too. And they go on the road, knock off Southern Miss as a double-digit underdog. I'm with Tony. Tony, keep the knife in your pocket. You don't have to slice your throat today. Okay?
Ross,
I'm going with South Alabama. Take the points, Chipper. Take the points. Take the points.
Ross.
Yeah.
Ross, I've taken note of everything you've said.
Thank you.
And it's so illogical. It's so illogical. The team's favored by 7 that I have to have.
I understand that,
And I'm not going to play it because it's an ugly game.
I have no idea why I got elected senior class president either. You know what I mean? So sometimes
and who was counting the ballots?
President?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
who was
I have no idea.
It
was an Italian.
Shows you how
the ballots.
shows you how that school voting system goes.
Yeah, were those mail-in ballots?
Yeah, let's get this straight.
You got mail-in ballots, didn't you?
There was a hanging Benjamin, not a hanging Chad.
I'm
going to trump you right now, Ross. I was the school president, not class. The whole school.
Were you in charge?
Was that reform school?
Well, you know what? They were Blue Devils, so you can definitely say, they fit the category. So
Louis fixed the budget.
Yeah, I'll fix the budget. So all you got to do is follow the money, guys. But nobody wants to follow the money. They just want to distract you and give you all the social justice that you can have. So anyways, while they create the social chaos and then give you the reaction and solution, we're going to give you winners here on sports on BettorCenter because they're going to go right back to the games, guys. I can get distracted with that all day long. And if you've ever seen my Facebook site, I got an opinion. But let's get right back. I got my train of thought all lost. We're in college football. The Jaguars. Everybody seems to be on the Jaguars. Except for Chip. He thinks that they are not in the turquoise zone tonight. So the Jaguars, I think it's another touchdown money line for you. So grab them. Just like Navy came in for the money for you last week, I'm looking for an opportunity here. Not quite an executive play, like the points myself. So back to a serious note. Let's look at a little money line here. So game on, and I think we're going over into one baseball game here today, and it features that I think is something that I'll talk about a little bit. Whites and the Indians, and my question is, who we got a tough matchup here? Who are we using here today? Anybody got anything? Chip, White Sox, Indians.
I definitely do. I use the Cleveland Indians as one of my top plays today. They've been streaking, playing well. I think they're like 37 and 17 over the White Sox at home in the last 54 games they played. And the White Sox, since they clinched, since the day they said they had the best record in the American League, has gone right into the toilet. I think they've lost 6 of their last 8. Maybe they're just waiting for Sunday to come, the season to end, and then from they get involved in the playoffs on Tuesday. But I do have Cleveland, and that's all she wrote for me.
White Sox 0-5. They are 22-45 in Cleveland. Last 67 games. Definitely something to note of. What do you got there, Tony? You feeling anything on this one?
Damn, I feel terrible. I went against Chip again. I took the White Sox in this game.
You'll feel worse tomorrow.
Don't feel terrible, Tony.
I feel worse
White
tomorrow.
Sox loses the 4th straight game, and I did note, as Chip has mentioned, since they clinched their place in the playoffs, they have kind of went back into the toilet a little bit, receded.
Potty
I just like the
time.
price, the plus 125. You get Kuchel. You're getting a guy that's probably going to be one of their big cogs if they're going to make a run in the playoffs. This guy has to pitch well. I don't really see any reason for any of these teams to rest anybody, especially their pitchers, because most of these MLB pitchers, like I think I mentioned before, are really just hitting mid-season peak form. I think they should let these guys just go. I mean, typically at this point of a season, pitchers are arm weary. They've just went through a long, hot summer, pitching 30 starts for the year. So at this point, they're wore out. These guys have like 10, 11, 12 starts. They're ready to fire. I hate to go against Chip, but I'm going to take the juice and the White Sox tonight.
All right. So there we go. Rubber match back to you, Ross. What do you got here? Indians, White Sox.
You're killing me with this pressure, man. Chipper, I'm going to have to take it Elliam after I get off air. Who's pitching for Cleveland, by the way? Because I haven't really looked deep into this game yet.
Cleveland has on the mound tonight. We got Dallas Keuchel and Zach Plesac.
Okay, please. Keuchel is a clutch pitcher, okay? He was with Houston. He's proven to be that this year. Very good year for the White Sox right now. Cleveland opened this series down 5 games to Chicago. All of a sudden, they're 2 games behind the White Sox, and it looked like they were totally out of it in the division race, and they're right in the thick of it. With a win tonight, they can close it within a game. Real tough call for me without looking further into it. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I really haven't looked into this deep. I've been focusing on this weekend's college football and the NFL. But at this particular moment in time, I'm sorry, Lou, can't break the tie. I can't take a team in Chicago laying the kind of money they are to. They're cold and they're playing against a hot team. So handicapping 101 would tell you not to fade the team that's hot and not to play on the team that's cold. So if that's the case, then I guess if I put the gun to my head, I will take Cleveland.
Yeah. Well, nobody's going to put a gun to your head on this game here today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make the decision for you here to eliminate the rubber match, and what else to do it by giving you a total in the game. So I am obviously been on the Cleveland under train for a little while, and I can't see why I need to get off the train. I just got to stay a little bit lighter on that under train today because Keuchel's last 3 starts versus the Indians have gone over. 4 out of his last 5 have gone over, but everything else pretty much screams under city here tonight. So I will have a lean on the under. So I think that's your winner in the game. I think you got a tough matchup, and everybody made some great points. All right, so let's get into tomorrow night's college football game. We touched on it a little bit yesterday and the day before with Middle Tennessee State just pretty much giving up points like a sieve left and right. Nobody's having a problem scoring on them so far in their first 2 games, giving up 80. They're outscored 87-7 or something like that. Off the top of my head, I don't know. Game opens up at 6.5. Now it's at a solid 7 across the board, 58-60. Guys, you have anything new to add to this play here today? Tony.
Wow, man, Middle Tennessee is a terrible team, right? I mean, I predicted it earlier. I think we talked about this with the Navy game, just how much of a transition the coach's son has gone, blah, blah, blah. But, man, this team is a total train wreck, right? Just destroyed. Defensively, it's just like there's no one on the field. But then I go to look at UTSA, and I'm not really impressed with them either, guys. That Stephen F. Austin 24-10 win over Stephen F. Austin. And then you look at the stats in the game, there's nothing impressive they did in that game. I'm going to hold judgment on this game till tomorrow. I really can't believe I'm thinking about taking Middle Tennessee, but we'll see tomorrow where I stand on this one. No opinion yet.
All right. How about you, Ross? Anything?
Yeah, too much money on UTSA. You know what I mean? They're the logical side to me. When I see something like that where the general public is hammering them and it's an obvious play, I 9 out of 10 times will stay away, Lou. And this is one of those situations. I will say this. I mentioned this yesterday. UTSA has ran the ball for close to 600 yards in their first 2 games. Middle Tennessee has given up close to 600 yards on the ground in the last 2 games. One team, time of possession, Middle Tennessee, around 24 minutes. The other team, 39 minutes. I mean, when you look at that, the raw data, you got to say UTSA. But, again, I don't like siding with the general public, as heavy as that is. So I'm going to take a pass here, Lou.
All right. I'm still riding on that train, but do you have anything to add to this one, Chip?
No, really. The best thing I tell you about college football is that I was 4-0 last Saturday, 6-1 the last 2 Saturdays, and I have a Fab 5 going this week. This game I have no interest in whatsoever. We mentioned it the other day, and Middle Tennessee State. How could you get involved with a team like that? If you bet this game, you deserve it.
Go ahead. Yeah. I'm betting the game, Chip. Go ahead.
1-800 need help.
Yeah. No, I don't need help. I'm still here. So there's action in though. There's money to be made in little opportunities like this. But I don't disagree with Ross at all about that. You know, it's obvious in the actions going on Middle Tennessee. It's got to cross the 7. I think it's going to hit 9 tomorrow. I think tomorrow, because it'll be the only game in town and everybody be playing the favorite anyways. So if you got the 6 or the 6.5, and now you can probably grab yourself maybe as high as 10, I think tomorrow night. We'll see how it goes. But either way, I will be on the UTSA train. So, all right, next game on the board in college football, we got Texas minus 18, opened up at 14. And they're playing at Texas Tech, and the total is 70.5, opened up at 68.5. Ross, you got some feelings for that Texas Tech match? Go ahead.
Yeah, I got down early on Texas as 15.5. Now it's up to 18.5. At this number, it lost a little bit of value, right, Lou? I mean, you look at this Texas Tech team.
Crossing 17, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at they won 35-33 in their home opener against Houston Baptist. That's Houston Baptist. And Chipper, Houston Baptist missed a 2-point conversion with less than 2 minutes to go, which would have tied that game. And they gave up a ton of yards to Houston Baptist. So, and last I checked, Houston Baptist and Texas aren't in the same class of college football. So, again, I got down early on the number 15.5. If it comes down 17 or less, I would recommend a play on Texas. But right now, the value has sort of been taken out of that play for me at the current number it's at, Lou.
Okay, yeah, I'm feeling that there's just been too much of a knee-jerk reaction on this. You got a dozen players last week were all out for Texas Tech because of COVID, and now they all return. So do you think that's got something to do here? Well, I mean, obviously you got something to do. What's your take on that one, Tony?
Wow, I just looking at Texas Tech defense. Do we know that last week in that Houston Baptist game, the quarterback for Houston Baptist threw for 567 yards? 557? I mean, really?
Yeah, I don't know if you can excuse COVID for that one.
Yeah, I mean, that's COVID-19, no COVID-19. God damn, 567 yards. I'm like double checking to make sure it's not a typo. Texas with a pretty big, powerful team, right? I'm going to have to lay the points here if I play this game. I'm not, not locking anything down, but I got my little point spread chart over here. I see value in Texas. I look at the Texas Tech defense. They look pathetic and defenseless. And Texas is a powerful offensive team with a quarterback that is getting a lot of eyeballs for being possibly a pro prospect. I think, and then what was the score last year? Texas handled them, I think, in the previous meeting. It was a pretty solid win for Texas
49,
last year.
24. Texas.
Yeah. I'm
Texas
expecting
by 25.
I would expect to see something in that range this year. So early call, no play yet. Take Texas.
All right, Chip, let's get talk about this game. Let's get to a subject that you know a little bit about.
Longhorns.
Texas Tech. Well, no, Texas Tech running back, Sir Roderick Thompson. He was arrested on Monday. He was charged.
I didn't come up with any bail money. I can tell you that right now.
Gotta love all the accolades that go to poor Chipper. Boy, oh boy.
He was accused of fleeing the scene while a fellow teammate was arrested. That's got to affect his team. That probably has something to do with that line movement. But seeing that you're an expert in criminal activity.
Yes. Well, my best friend's a bail bondsman, so that connects me to the element.
There you go.
Texas is not known for passing the ball. I mean, they're going to throw for 500 yards against this team. And, you know, the thing that disappoints me is the Longhorns, every time I seem to back them in a big game, say against LSU last year or other teams along the last couple of seasons, they'll gain 560 yards on offense and somehow on 4th and 1 don't make it. And I always fall short with this team. This team bothers me. And I love the hook 'em horns. I would take Texas here, though.
Yeah,
all right.
Sam
well, last week.
Can I jump in a second? My buddy Chip.
I know what you're going to say.
Go
ahead.
Passing the ball? Come on, Chip. Who's the quarterback?
Texas, the Longhorns run the ball. Erlich, what's that kid? Erlich, E-D-L?
Yeah, the guy's going to be a number 1 draft choice, possibly. They're not known for passing the ball.
Listen, he only played 30 times and tossed 5 touchdowns last week. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Longhorns run.
Okay.
You know what?
I thought Longhorns have had sex with cows, man, but that's okay.
Wow, that's another show.
All right, yes, yeah, we'll have to save that show. Let's move over into the Army at Cincinnati game now, and I'm just going to start right with Tony because he's kind of been our little Army source. And the Knights, 1-4 their last 5 road games, but they also haven't won versus a top 10. Versus a ranked opponent. Oh, geez, I'm trying to remember. 0-20, the last 20 games versus a AP top 25 team. So what can you give to us on this game here, Tony? Cincy, minus 13.5, total 45.
I think it's too many points. I'm not like chomping at the bit to take Army here. Little axiom. I know we all have these little axioms I like to use. When you get 2 ranked teams playing each other, and to view the lower ranked team as viable. I'm not sure that it's applicable in this situation, although you would get 13.5 points if you want to take Army. This is another one of those games. I'm not anxious to take Army here, but I think that's the right side. I'm going to lock in my plays for Saturday, probably sometime tomorrow. But my first glance is to say Army, but I'm really scared of this game.
All right. Chip, you got anything with Army in Cincinnati?
Well, it seems like an exceptionally high number for a team like Cincinnati, who just doesn't ever seem to get there. But, you know, these service schools must really be in trouble this year. The way Navy got beat, the way Army has gotten beat. I think I'd lay it before I take it. I'm not interested in this game at all, but the number's high enough, and maybe Cincinnati can respond. I'm not sure. I'm not a big fan of this game.
Okay. All right. Ross, Army, 2 wins this year. Yeah, Middle Tennessee and ULM.
To me,
2-0 straight up in ATS, brother.
I only think ATS.
Yeah. They
beat 42. They won 42 to nothing. 37.
What was that?
2020.
79-7. The two combined games, 42 to nothing and 37-7. Army's won their 2 games.
And who'd they play? I must have been thinking about
it. In Middle Tennessee, they played nobody. You're right. In that regard. Right. Okay, look.
I had to be thinking Navy.
And Cincinnati's been in the top 25 the last 2 years, Chipper.
And you're thinking about Navy, Chip.
The line over at 11, it's up to 14, and everybody's in love with Army's first 2 results. It's going to be a little different because they're going to have to play from behind in this game. They led from start to finish in the first 2 games. Were able to dictate the tempo, going on those long, time-consuming drives. It's not going to happen here. They're going to be out of their element. Cincinnati's the more talented team. This goes against public perception because this line went from 11 to 14, and looks like the public is favoring the Service Academy. I'm going to take Cincinnati here, late of 14 over Army, Lou.
I agree with you there, Ross. I think Cincinnati will Army will finally meet the foe that's going to show them what they're really all about. And Cincinnati is an up-and-coming team, an up-and-coming program, returning 16 starters from last year. And I believe it will show here for Army this week. And they're going to get probably a little bit of a shellacking. So I actually think Cincinnati wins handily in the game as well. So my opinion. So now next game on the schedule is let's get over to the NFL for a couple games, and then we'll get into our most interesting plays. So in the NFL this week, the Rams are at the Bills, and that total shooting right up from 44 up to 48. And since you are another Buffalonian like Ross, I'm going to start with you on this game. Give us some insight on your Buffalo Bills this Sunday.
Well, if you look at the first two games each of these teams played, they've been prolific offensively, Louis. It's hard to say that in the same sentence with the Buffalo Bills, right? Because in Sean McDermott's first 3 years, they've made the playoffs 2 of those 3 years, but it hasn't been because of their offense. It's been because of their defense. So that 44 to 48 that's a pretty big move in the NFL, by the way, on a total. And
it's back down to 47 right now, too.
It's 47. Okay, you know why? Yeah. I believe keep an eye on the status of Matt Milano and Tremaine Edmonds, excuse me. They're two star linebackers, all-pro caliber linebackers. Did not play against Miami last week. And you saw the numbers. Miami was able to move the ball, and a lot of the offense that they moved the ball with was those passes over the middle where the linebackers weren't getting good drops and they were getting sucked into play action. If they're in a lineup, you're going to see that number come down, that total come down. If not, there's a valid reason why that total is so high. So, but I really like the way Josh Allen's playing right now. I mean, the kid has been lights out, albeit. Now, keep in mind, he played against the Jets in Miami's defense. A little different this week with Aaron Donald and company. This is a really intriguing matchup. It's difficult for me because I try to stay objective, and it's Buffalo at home just laying 2. I would have a slight lean toward them, but I'm not going to play this game. I don't like how big that total, the movement on the total moved up there. I think that's too big of a jump. And now it's coming down a little, and I'm not willing to bet against the Rams either, the way they've looked in the first 2 weeks. And again, Buffalo 2-0, but they haven't played anybody yet. This would be a real strong test, and we'll see if Buffalo's for real.
Yeah, I think it's a strong test for both of them to find out who really is real this week. Chip, you got anything to add on this one? No.
Well, I think that I'm surprised the line came up so short. I don't think people were enamored with the Rams before the season started. And like we had spoken before, Buff was one of the preseason favorites. And that was why I said originally that I thought we should play against the Bills because there were so many people were enamored with them. I think this line is short, but I like Buffalo here because the Rams are on the road once again. And Louis, you're the man who said the team from the West Coast going to the East Coast. They went last week to Philadelphia. Now, I don't know if they returned to the West Coast or not. I know the 49ers stayed in West Virginia, and they're traveling up to play the Giants. They never left. They played the Jets last week. So whether the Rams did the same thing or not, I'm not sure as of yet. And I'll tell you something. I would wait until I find out before I do anything on this game. And you know how you find out? You continue to watch the show because I've learned more today about college football, basketball, football, and anything having to do with sports because you guys continually correct me, and I appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Chip. All right, Tony. Impress Chip right here with your thoughts on the Bills game.
No pressure at all to impress Mr. Chip. I'm going to back Buffalo here. I have it as a 6-point line for me. And whenever I cross that, I don't know why it's 3, now 2.5. I think it's the perfect setup for it, though, because Buffalo did not cover last week. You know, they got the win but didn't cover the spread. So for me, that always seems to create just a tiny little bit of value when a team fails to cover. So they come back home. I really, honestly, this spread is mystifying, but I'm not going to really fight it. I think it's a good play for Buffalo. We'll see how their defense holds up. I think Ross mentioned their defense is a little sketchy, but they've had the control of those games. I don't like to judge a team's defense by how they give up a lot of yards when the games are pretty much not being contested. But with that said, the passing from Miami is a little, a question mark for Buffalo's defense. But I think it's set up good for them. Allen, as he's been mentioned, great start to the season, 6 touchdown passes against no interceptions. This just looks like a great spot for a Buffalo team laying less than a field goal at home. I'm going to take Buffalo here.
All right. We got a little Buffalo action. And Chip, you ask, and you shall receive.
Thank you.
The LA Rams. Yes, the LA Rams. They had COVID issues of getting hotel rooms. So they did have to travel back to LA and now travel back to Buffalo. So they have a lot of traveling to do during this week, and that will probably wear them out a little bit. So I got to agree that that's going to give Buffalo a nice little edge in this matchup. It could also give that edge to the over. More of a more tired team has a chance to get into a high-scoring affair than a fresh team, defensively speaking, obviously, but that's usually the way it goes. So you're only at 2.5 on the Bills. There might be some value there before it was at 3 in case it goes back up when people try to figure that one out. All right, so next game on the schedule, last game, NFL game. And this is a real interesting game here because Herbert gets the start last week against the Chiefs. Looks really good. And really, I think Tyrod Taylor has probably saw his last game as a starter. If Herbert does, he looked good. He was poised. And I think this kid has probably got a bright NFL future. Now he's traveling to the East Coast after a big win, seeing his headlines all week, talking about how good he did. So we're going to get a real test to see how poised he can be after reading his headlines. So the line opened up with the Chargers at 6.5. We got a touch of some 7s out there. The total, though, 51. Bet all the way down to 43.5. Huge steam on the under. Tony, you got any thoughts on this one?
So is Herbert starting the game? Do we have that for the Chargers?
Yes, it's official. Herbert is starting. You got the news here.
Yeah, I think we've discussed this rookie quarterback start. This is his first start, right? Tyrod Taylor has been starting.
No,
Well, he started last week because he had his lung punctured in a, whether it was done on purpose or not, I don't know. But,
yes.
Yeah.
His lung was punctured in pregame.
A little more. I tell you what, a young quarterback laying a touchdown doesn't really blow my skirt up and make me want to run out and put my money down on him. Carolina's defense has shown they're terrible. I'm going to be frankly honest. Panthers defense, no cornerbacks, not getting a pass rush, and their linebackers aren't tackling that well. That's a recipe for disaster. But I'm not ready to commit to a rookie quarterback winning by a touchdown. So I really don't have a lot to give you at this point.
All right, Ross, you got anything for us on this game here? Chargers.
Chipper's got a lot of connections. You know what I mean? Because what he did is his doctor, who he goes to see in L.A., drives 3 hours to see him, is the same doctor of the Chargers. So
he's from Borneo.
Yeah, and he sort of punched he gave him a painkiller and punctured his lung.
Imagine that.
About a debacle. But anyway, getting back, and in all seriousness, look.
Chip, hold on, Chip. That really is your doctor?
Look, well, yeah, he's a wild man of Borneo. And
okay.
We got him on one of those. We took one of those adventure trips to Kong Island, and we found him. Did you get a picture? Did you get a look at this guy? This guy looks like one of the writers. He's the doctor. Really, he punctures the guy's lung before a game.
Right.
The bottom.
Anyway, I think he thought that Herbert was a better quarterback. You Charger fan.
Boy, just you open up the door with a little comedy, and these guys jump right in. That's why you got to watch the show. Anyway, getting back to all seriousness, Hebert, real good game, passed for over 300 yards. Let's not forget, he was named the starting quarterback 10 minutes before game time. So Kansas City was not fully prepared to look and game plan against him. Now a team has a week to game plan against them, look at them on film. Unfortunately, that team is Carolina, and as Tony Gullidge astutely brought to our attention, Carolina's defense is terrible. And Tony's right there in Carolina, and he's a Carolina fan. For him to tell me that, that goes a long way with me. I'm going to be a little hesitant here on this game. I'm going to wait a little bit because it looks too obvious. The Chargers' defense is real good. I want to see how Hebert does another week when teams got a week to prepare for him. And, no Christian McCaffrey either, guys. You know what I mean? That's a vital part of your offense right there. Maybe the best player in the NFL. So I'm going to take a pass here at least for another day and before I look at this game a little more closely.
All right. Okay. I am going to lean on the Chargers a little bit. I liked what I saw last week, and now he's going against pretty much another weak defense, or not another weak defense, a weak or weaker defense. I think as poised as he looked and the way it happened so fast, he should be able to handle the press this week and really parlay that into something. So I'll be looking to tease the Chargers down. I fully expect them to win this game, but those unders on the Chargers, I say nix on that for right now. This might look like a little bit of an overaction for me, but too early for me to jump on a Charger game over. So who else we got left for this game? I think we had Chip.
Yeah. The other thing, I'll make it short and quick. The best thing I can say about this game is Matt Rule. And that's for you, Ross. And so I don't like the game either. I had the Chargers last week, and I'm glad to see that Hebert got in there. But that situation with a doctor puncturing his lung with a needle, I mean, that is absolutely ridiculous. I like the Chargers to come back this season, have a better year. They need to off of last season. And they're in a spot home laying points here. Like I said, I'm a little bit afraid of it. No McCaffrey. I like Ross. I'd probably wait before I make a final decision on this game. And I most likely, I say 90%, not going to use it at all.
All right. So there we go. So now let's, the reason everybody is still hanging out and watching us, let's give it to them, guys. Our most interesting play of the day. And while you give us the most interesting play, please feel free to tell our viewers how they can get a hold of you for a little bit more interesting information. So I'll start with you, Tony Gullidge. Most interesting play of the day is?
Thanks, Lou. You can contact me at thegreatwhitecapper.com, contact form. I'm all over Twitter and Facebook. Tony Gullidge, not that hard to find. So be sure to check that out if you want information on how to get my service. You basically will get like a daily newsletter style email that lays out all my action for the day, and I designate my best bets of the day. And with that said, let's get to the most interesting play of the day. For me today, it is going to be on the Toronto Blue Jays with Ryu pitching. Give you the quick notes on this. The Toronto Blue Jays are 8-3 in the 11 Ryu starts, 4-1 in his 5 home starts, and 5-2 in his last 7 starts. They had this exact same pitching matchup not too long ago, Montgomery against Ryu, and Toronto won that game 12-7. For Montgomery, for the Yankees, they're 1-2 in his 3 road starts, and his ERA is over 8 on the road. So with that said, very small line, Toronto around minus 110-ish. So Toronto Blue Jays is my most interesting play of the day.
All right, Tony, thank you very much. Now, Chip, what do you see as the most interesting play of the day? And don't forget to tell everybody how they can enjoy your entertainment 24/7.
I thank you for that, Lou. But I'll start by saying there are 6 teams in the National League that are vying for a playoff spot, 4 playoff spots. The top team was the St. Louis Cardinals. Yesterday were 2 games over 500. Now they're 1 game over 500. They're playing the Brewers, who are at 500, and the Brewers are at St. Louis, and Milwaukee's favored in this game. And it sort of looks odd to me. I always like to fade teams that say have to win or supposed to win and are in a position where if they win out, they'll clinch. St. Louis is in that spot, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen to me. I'm going to take Milwaukee tonight. I have the Brewers over the St. Louis Cardinals.
The Brew Ha-Has from Chip. All right. Thank you very much, Chip. And Ross, let's close them out here with a nice solid winner and a way to get a hold of you. Thanks.
Thank you. If you look at the screen right now, you'll see rbwins.com. That's my URL. You can get my plays at. I have daily packages, monthly, weekly. I guarantee my subscription packages are weekly and monthly. You also see my phone number right there on the screen. You can call me direct if you're a little uneasy about making a purchase online, and I will take care of you. I accept all major credit cards, and I employ no salespeople, so you'll deal with me and me only. And I don't have time for a sales pitch, so just knowing comfort in that. Last week, Louis, 3-0 in college football on Saturday. The NFL 7-2 with my last 9. A combined 10-2 between college football and the NFL with my last 12 pace selections. So again, it's rbwins.com or rossbenjaminsports.com, whatever you prefer. Now, as far as my most interesting play today, I don't work weekends, guys, so I'm going to give you I don't work weekends on this show, I should say. I'm going to give you a game in college football on Saturday. Remember last week I gave you UL Lafayette as a 17-point underdog. They almost won the game outright, losing by 3 in overtime. This week I'm going to flip it a little bit, and I'm going to go with a road double-digit favorite, which I very rarely do, but I just think this is a right situation. Florida at Ole Miss. That's number 5 Florida. And Ole Miss starting the Lane Kiffin era. And this Ole Miss program has been a mess the last couple of years. And I think Lane Kiffin's going to have an uphill climb here for the first year or two before he starts getting in his own players. Florida, on the other hand, a lot of stability. Dan Mullen now in his 3rd year, best head coach they've had there since probably Urban Meyer. 21-5 in his first 2 years in Gainesville. And I just think that this Florida Gator team is primed and ready to make a run, and not only the SEC, but the college football playoff as well. I'm going to lay, it opened at 12.5. It's up to 14. It's not going to scare me away. I'm going to take Florida here, lay to 14 at Ole Miss.
All right, Ross, hammering down on the Gators. I appreciate that. I will take a look at that as well. I think any of these plays are going to be nice in a little teaser action. Nothing big, just some good teaser action. And, I give out a lot of teasers. I give a lot of parlays, and a lot of guys think those are sucker bets, and chances are you're probably right with a lot of that. But there are ways to beat the teasers, mostly in the NFL. There are ways to beat the parlays, mostly with the money line favorites. And there are ways to beat the parlays with underdog, money line, round robins. So in order to get those vibes, guys, you have to have a lot of action, and you have to know the board fairly well. So what I recommend is playing teasers and parlays at very, very small levels until you feel your comfort zone. So now you're getting real familiar with the board, because if you're not paying attention, you're only paying attention to the game that you bet today, you're really not finding the value for tomorrow. And I'll leave you with that. And my most interesting play of the day is, I don't have Minnesota to give you under today, so I'm going to give you Cleveland under, guys. It's as simple as that. Cleveland under, Minnesota under. It's just a train I'm riding, and I want to try to expound on that every day. At the end of the season, we'll be a winner. And yesterday, we weren't, so it's going to happen. But that'll be my play here for today. But tomorrow, I am going to have teasers. I'm going to have parlays for you. Going to have a ton of NFL and college football action. So be sure to join us here tomorrow. Be sure to subscribe to the Facebook or the YouTube so you can get these plays as soon as we can get them to you. I want to thank Tony Gullidge, Chip Chirimbus, and Ross Benjamin for joining us here today. And look for us here again tomorrow, 9 a.m. Pacific time, with Brad Stein on BettorCenter Live.